A day after BJP chief JP Nadda, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is going to be visiting Bengal this afternoon. This is going to be Prime Minister Modi's second trip to Bengal in many weeks. During the visit, he will be launching several projects, addressing a public rally in Bengal's Haldia, inaugurating LPG import terminal built by state-run Bharat Petroleum that has been constructed at a cost of 1,100 crore rupees. The Prime Minister is going to be dedicating to the nation 348 kilometers Dobi Durgapur natural gas pipeline section, which is part of Pradhan Mantri Urja Ganga project. He's also going to be inaugurating four-lane flyover at Ranichak in Haldia. It's been built at the cost of 190 crores. Meanwhile, an invite has been sent out to the Chief Minister Mamta Banerjee as per protocol, but as per sources, her office has informed PMO that Mamta will not be available. Battleground Bengal is heating up ahead of the upcoming assembly polls. On Saturday, BJP chief JP Nadda flagged off Rath Yatra as he launched a blistering attack on Mamta. Paulami Saha with this report.
The state election dates are yet to be announced, but these visuals tell you that Bengal is already in poll mode.
यहाँ से परिवर्तन यात्रा की शुरुआत हो गई। ये परिवर्तन सिर्फ सरकार का परिवर्तन नहीं है, ये परिवर्तन विचार का परिवर्तन।
Such type of arguments always come from people who have got a dictatorial mindset. They have got such lame excuses because they do not have any strength in them as far as argument is concerned, as far as the basic content in polity is concerned. They don't have it.
BJP, the principal challenger to the ruling Trinamool Congress, is sharpening its campaign.
हमारी ममता दीदी की आदत है, अपना तो कुछ है नहीं, लेकिन चीटिंग में भी आगे रहती है, चीटिंग में।
BJP President JP Nadda flagged off the Parivartan Yatra from Navadip in Bengal's Nadia district, and it was a TMC Supremo who was in his crosshair.
There is an aspiration among the people of Bengal. They are fed up with the corruption, with the cut money. They are fed up with Tolabaji. They are very disturbed and they want an alternative. And they find alternative in Bharatiya Janata Party.
BJP has planned to organize similar yatras from different parts of the state, but the Mamta government is yet to give official permission, which has led to fireworks.
देखिए, परमिशन मिल जाएगा तो बीजेपी चंगा हो जाएगा और नहीं मिलेगा तो जरूर पंगा होगा, क्योंकि लोकतंत्र में बंगाल में 1 इंच जमीन भी आप बिना संघर्ष से आगे नहीं सकते। 135 लोगों की हमारी जान गई है, फिर भी हम डटे हुए हैं और इसको अंतिम परिणाम तो जब तक परिवर्तन नहीं होता है हम लड़ते रहेंगे।
While dilly-dallying over permission to BJP's Yatra, TMC's bike rally has got the required nod. Thousands of motorcycles crisscrossing the Nadia district. TMC held back no punches when targeting the Saffron Brigade.
নবদ্বীপ থেকে রথযাত্রা শুরু করবেন জেপি নাড্ডা।
আরে বললাম তো, রথ তো একটাই জানে, পুরীর রথ, মহেশের রথ, জগন্নাথের রথ। জগন্নাথের রথ আবার এরা কবে জগন্নাথ হলো আমার জানা নেই।
दूध मांगो तो खीर देंगे और बीजेपी वालों याद रखो, बंगाल मांगो तो बंगाल की जनता तुम लोग को थप्पड़ देके चीर देंगे, मार देंगे, उखाड़ के फेंक देंगे।
If the face-off over the Parivartan Yatra is anything to go by, then 2021 could prove to be one of the most fiercely contested battles for the 294-strong West Bengal Legislative Assembly. It appears that the Bharatiya Janata Party and the Trinamool Congress have only just begun locking horns. With camera person Rakesh Tiwari, Paulami Saha in Navadip Nadia district for India Today.
Prime Minister Modi is all set to visit Assam today. The Prime Minister is slated to inaugurate multiple infrastructure projects, including the foundation-laying ceremony of 2 hospitals and medical colleges in Biswanath and Sharaidio. Prime Minister is also going to be launching a Saw-Mala project aimed at improving highways and district roads across the state. And ahead of his visit, he's tweeted assuring that his government is going to continue working for the welfare of the people of Assam. He's also his visit actually is going to be coming weeks before the assembly elections in the state, where the BJP is hoping to retain its majority. Farmers are all set to escalate their protests a day after they held a successful nationwide chakka jam yesterday. BKU leader Rakesh Tikait is scheduled to attend 2 Mahapanchayats in Haryana. At 11 in the morning, Tikait is going to be visiting Kitlana Toll Plaza. 2 p.m. he will attend another meeting at Bandra Anaj Mandi. A defiant Tikait during yesterday's chakka jam announced that the farmers are going to continue their protests until the laws are repealed and that the centre has time till 2nd October to repeal the laws. Ever since Mahapanchayats have extended their support to the farmers' protests, the BKU Farmer Union leader has been addressing multiple such meetings in UP and Haryana to garner support. His last Mahapanchayat session was in Haryana's Jind on 3rd of February.
इस समय बार बार कई मंत्री भी कहते हैं कि हम तो एक फोन कॉल दूर हैं, आप हमसे बात तो करिए। तो कहीं ना कहीं आपको लगता है कि ये इशू एक फुटबॉल का इशू सा बन चुका है। आप लोग कह रहे हैं कि आप हमारी सरकार बात नहीं मानती, सरकार कह रही है हम तो बातचीत करना चाहते हैं। इसका लॉजिकल सॉल्यूशन क्या लगता है आपको?
ऐसे न, सरकार जब चाहेगी जब ही बातचीत भी हो जाएगी और काम भी हो जाएंगे। सरकार अभी चाह ही नहीं रही, तो हमने भी अक्टूबर का टाइम है हमारे पे, 2 अक्टूबर तक का टाइम है, तो सरकार को दे दिया, अपना सोच समझ ले। हमें भी देश में बहुत हिस्सों में जाना है, तो वहाँ पे भी पंचायतें हमको करनी है, क्योंकि 40 लाख ट्रैक्टर जोड़ने हैं हमको भी, जोड़ेंगे 40 लाख ट्रैक्टर देश।
Farmers called for a nationwide chakka jam between 12 p.m. and 3 p.m. on Saturday, which is yesterday. The protests were largely carried out peacefully. They were absolutely peaceful, as promised by the Kisan unions. Here's a comprehensive report.
Highways blocked. Protesters detained. Water cannons fired. A 3-hour nationwide chakka jam blockade of national and state highways was held by farmers from across the country on Saturday. Punjab and Haryana witnessed huge crowds of farmers who took to the streets shouting slogans for the government to withdraw the tree farm laws. Farmers thronged the streets in Punjab's Mohali. Huge crowds were also seen at the Shambhu border.
हजारों की तादाद में हुजूम यहां पर उमड़ा हुआ है। 26 नवंबर को जब दिल्ली में पहली बार किसान यहां से गए थे, यहां पर काफी हंगामा हुआ था, लेकिन आज हजारों की तादाद में किसान यहां पर मौजूद हैं।
Hundreds of farmers also took to the streets sloganeering at Krishna Chowk in Gurugram.
The situation at the border, the Delhi-Gurugram border, is absolutely calm. Things are under control. There is a heavy deployment of security personnel, but the farmers are also very calm and they are saying it's just a symbolic protest. But we want to request the government to listen to us and take the farm laws back.
Protests at the 3 main stir sites, Ghazipur, Singhu and Tikri borders of Delhi, were largely peaceful, as their leader had promised.
These barricades have been put up here, the police personnel there, and behind these police personnel are rows of barricades. Some cemented barricades have also been put up. The police not wanting to take any chance.
किसानों का है, आम जनता का है, ये जन आंदोलन है। रोटी तिजोरी में बंद ना हो, ये उसका आंदोलन है। खेत पे कब्जा ना हो, ये उसका आंदोलन है।
But at the Burari border in the national capital, some protesters were detained.
इस वक्त हम लोग मौजूद है शहीदी पार्क पे। पुलिस के तमाम सुरक्षा के बावजूद आप देखिए यहाँ पर NFIW ये के कार्यकर्ता यहाँ पर पहुँचे हैं और ये महिलाएं हैं ज्यादातर इनमें यहाँ से, और पुलिस देखिए इनको यहाँ से पकड़ के ले जा रही है।
In Maharashtra, protesting farmers, including senior Congress leader Prithviraj Chavan's wife, were detained from Buldwana and Karad, among other locations. Protesters were also held in the south as well. In Bengaluru, the police detained protesters seated on a dharna outside the Yalahanka police station. In Thiruvananthapuram, Congress leaders led pro-farmer stir, but the protests turned violent and water cannons were fired on them. But after the violence during protests on Republic Day, the Chakka Jam on Saturday was largely peaceful, much to the relief of the authorities as well as the agitating farmers. Bureau Report, India Today.
Amid speculations that Chief Minister K. Chandrasekhar Rao might step down and make way for his son K.T. Rama Rao to the state's top post, the Executive Committee of ruling TRS has scheduled a crucial meeting today. While the main agenda of this meeting is to brainstorm the strategy to counter the rise of BJP, it is also likely that some ministers and MLAs might request KCR to elevate his son and party's working president KTR in the government. Many senior party leaders have openly expressed the view that KTR should become the chief minister. Meanwhile, BJP said that successive electoral wins of the party in Dubaka and GHMC elections have changed political status quo in Telangana and has left the ruling TRS rattled.
KCR किसी से मिलता नहीं, ना लोगों से मिलता, ना MLA से मिलता, ना मिनिस्टरों से मिलता, KTR भी नहीं मिलता। जैसा बाप है वैसा बेटा भी वैसा ही है, ये भी किसी से नहीं मिलता। MLAs भी बोलते रहे फोन नहीं उठाते, गए तो मिलता नहीं, टाइम देता नहीं, ये भी बात बोलते हैं MLAs। तो लोगों को अल्टरनेट नहीं है, माँ बाप या बेटा चाहिए। जैसा बाप ने सोच रहे और उनके घर वाले ने सोच रहे KTR को बनाना है, उसको तो ये लोग तो एक्सेप्ट ही करना है। उसके अलावा लोग कर भी क्या सकते हैं? MLAs होने दो, मिनिस्टर्स होने दो, कर भी क्या सकते हैं? उनको तो एक्सेप्ट करना ही है इन लोगों को।
हर एक पार्टी में भी अरे नेक्स्ट कौन आता देखते हैं ना, वैसा हमारा पार्टी में भी KCR साहब के बाद कौन रहता CM बोलते KTR रहता बोल के, और यंग यूथ में भी थोड़ा है अरे KTR जल्दी CM बनना बोल के। तो हमारा पार्टी में एक डिसिप्लिन रहता, हम जब बोलते आज ने बोलेंगे कल बोलेंगे ना, एक साल के बाद बोलेंगे, कब तो भी और 5 साल के बोलेंगे, कब बोले तभी नेक्स्ट तो उन्नीच रहना बोल के एक डिमांड है बस उतनी।
Day before Shashikala's return to Chennai, AIADMK ministers have claimed threat of violence from her supporters. Senior AIADMK leaders met at Tamil Nadu DGP on Saturday to lodge a second complaint against Shashikala. State ministers Jayakumar, Thangamani and Shanmugam have informed the DGP of alleged threats from Shashikala's men. Tamil Nadu Law Minister Shanmugam said that Shashikala's supporters had recently mentioned about turning into suicide bombers and entering the state to create chaos. He also alleged that Shashikala and TTV Dhinakaran are using AIADMK's name and flag to defame the party. Earlier, several AIADMK ministers had approached the DGP on Tuesday to complain against Shashikala's use of AIADMK flag on her car after her release from Bengaluru hospital. Shashikala's popularity is huge. She is also known as Chinnamma. She will be returning to Chennai tomorrow after serving 4 years of jail term in the disproportionate assets case. Shashikala was the close aide of former Tamil Nadu Chief Minister Jayalalitha. Now, Amma stands to be no more. Will Chinnamma stake claim to Jaya's legacy? That's the question. Her release from the jail has already sent jitters to the AIADMK led by EPS. How will Shashikala factor play out in Tamil Nadu? Here's the entire report.
Vivekanandan Krishnaveni Sasikala, fondly known as Chinnamma, close aide to former Tamil Nadu Chief Minister late Jayalalitha, is now finally out of prison. She spent 4 long years in jail, serving a sentence to the 66 crore rupees disproportionate assets case to which Jayalalitha was accused number 1. She is now free, ready to roar, still powerful, and all set to stake claim on Amma's legacy. With Tamil Nadu polls fast approaching, all eyes are now hooked on Sasikala's every move. The question is, how relevant is Sasikala in Tamil Nadu politics? Well, analysts claim she could be the game changer. Now let's rewind and refresh your memory a bit. Who is Sasikala and why is AIADMK looking visibly worried with her arrival now? For the unversed, Sasikala had virtually controlled the AIADMK. Right after Jayalalitha's death, it was assumed Sasikala would be her direct successor. After all, she was Amma's closest confidant, Amma's shoulder to lean on, and surely the brain behind Amma's throne. Jayalalitha passed away in December 2016, and that's when the real power struggle began. One can't deny Sasikala may have had big dreams of taking over as the chief minister, but the law caught up with her even before she could make the move. The court convicted Sasikala in the disproportionate assets case. Her detractors painted her as the villain, the evil influence over an innocent Amma, the Puratchi Thalaivi. But quite clearly, Sasikala's story did not end there. And that was quite visible on the day she stepped out of Bengaluru's Victoria Hospital. A huge crowd of supporters greeted Sasikala as she waved and made her way into a car bearing the AIADMK flag. Quite a bold political statement there, as it surely ruffled feathers within the AIADMK. How important is Sasikala in the current political scenario? Well, one can't deny that Sasikala's release just months before state assembly elections has surely shaken up political equations in Tamil Nadu. AIADMK is at full throttle to claim Amma's legacy, explaining why Chief Minister Palaniswamy threw open Amma's memorial the day Sasikala walked out free. Truth be told, the AIADMK looks vulnerable like never before. Chief Minister Palaniswamy will be facing Sasikala for the first time in 4 years. If you remember, it was Sasikala who placed Palaniswamy on the Chief Minister's throne. Remember this picture that's become the DMK's tool to attack AIADMK? Here you can see Sasikala's hand-picked Chief Minister Palaniswamy falling at her feet. But after her arrest, Palaniswamy was quick to shut the doors on Sasikala and expelled her from the post of AIADMK General Secretary. He threw her out and joined hands with O. Pannirselvam, the now Deputy Chief Minister, who was ousted by Sasikala before she went to prison. AIADMK has vowed never to allow Sasikala back in. So does it mean it's game over for Sasikala? Can AIADMK really afford to overlook her presence now? Fact is, in the current scenario, Sasikala could emerge a game changer. Sasikala, who hails from Manargudi near Tanjavur, wields a sizable influence among the Thevar community, which dominates in the AIADMK. The party, founded by Sasikala's nephew, TTV Dinakaran, could play up this vote base and eat into AIADMK's vote share. Now, AMMK can also spin up a third front with S. Ramadas's PMK and Captain Vijay Kant's DMDK to further dent AIADMK's prospects. So it's now really left to the ruling AIADMK. Do they want to swallow the bitter pill and ally with AMMK, or take the risk of single-handedly, along with the BJP, fighting the DMK, which is a powerful opposition here with strong allies, in the face of anti-incumbency?
For the second consecutive day, India was sent on a leather hunt by English batsmen led by skipper Joe Root, who slammed a swift double century. Indian bowlers were found wanting, and so were the fielders, as England frustrated its shaded Indian team. England ended day 2 of the first test at 5:55 for 8 as India managed to pick up just 5 wickets on the day.
England continued from where they left on day 1. Joe Root was rock solid, and Ben Stokes too slowly got into the groove. The English captain soon brought up his 150. Stokes took the attack to the Indian spinners, and that created few chances as well. First Ravi Ashwin and then Chiteshwar Pujara dropped the English all-rounder. Stokes brought up a stroke-filled half-century which had a wide variety of sweeps. The visitors went into lunch without any damage and 355 runs on the board. Stokes continued to attack in the second session, and Shahbaz Nadeem had the final laugh. The left-hander was caught in the deep for 82, ending a 124-run stand. Joe Root, though, continued his mastery with the bat and became the first batsman to score a double 100 in his 100th Test match.
Using his feet.
England went into tea at 4:54 for 4. Post-tea, Ashwin struck for the second time in the Test to dismiss Oli Pope. Joe Root's masterclass was finally cut short for 218. Shahbaz Nadeem ended the English skipper's resistance after a 377-ball marathon knock. Jos Buttler and Dom Bess added 48 runs for the 7th wicket to further frustrate the Indians. Ishant got 2 in 2, but India still failed to wipe off the English tail as the visitors finished the day at 555 for 8.
Fuller in length.
Sports Bureau, India Today.
Joe Root has certainly walked the talk. He said on the first day that England were eyeing a score of around 600, and he led the charge himself in making that possible. The England skipper recorded a magnificent 218 and in process breached past many records to set up the 4 tests.
Joe Root has scripted history. The English skipper has etched his name in record books, scoring a historic double century. The Yorkshireman became the first batsman to score a double century in his 100th test match. Root continued his mastery with the bat on the second day as well. The mainstay of English batting lineup carried his team on his shoulders with a brilliant exhibition of batsmanship. Such was Root's dominance that he was hardly troubled by any of the Indian bowlers. Root's double century is also the first conceded in 57 test matches under Virat Kohli's captaincy.
Stunning batting from the England captain.
We've got to look to try and get as many as we can, 600-700 if we can. Really try and make the most of the first innings, make it while it's good, and those footholds are starting to wear quite quickly. So if we can bat into the whole of tomorrow and maybe into day 3, then things could speed up quite quickly for us, and you never know what can happen from that point onwards. But ultimately, we've got to try and back up today.
The English skipper made his intentions clear on the opening day and walked the talk on the field. After dominating Sri Lanka, Root is off to a super start in India as well. The way he is going, he could well become a major headache for the host throughout the 4-match series.
Hello everyone, this is Rahul Kamal here. Hope you enjoyed this video. For the latest news and analysis, like and subscribe the India Today YouTube channel, and don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated.